Every soul has a battlefield. Some fight in silence, others in prayer, but some fight with swords drawn beneath the gaze of heaven. What happens when an emperor sees a cross in the sky? When a man who held the fate of empires is met not by generals, but by God? It was not a bishop or prophet who would carry the banner of Christ into Rome's heart. It was a soldier, a ruler, a man forged in war and ambition, yet chosen by a vision. This is the story of Constantine, and the moment that changed the church forever. The Roman world trembled under its own weight. It was the early 4th century. Blood still stained the earth from civil wars. Caesars rose and fell like waves against stone. The empire was fractured. Brother fought brother. Generals betrayed emperors, and no throne remained unchallenged for long. And within this chaos, the church endured. Christian blood watered the soil of arenas. Men, women, even children, burned, torn, hunted. Yet they sang in chains. They worshipped in tombs. They preached in whispers. The world called them fools, but heaven called them faithful. And then came Constantine, a son of a Caesar, a soldier of the frontier, a man not known for prayer but for power. He knew strategy, not scripture, but God knew him. The year was 312 AD. Rome was on the edge of decision. Two men claimed its soul: Constantine in the west, Maxentius in the capital. They would meet at the Milvian Bridge. Victory would crown one. Death would swallow the other. On the eve of battle, Constantine stood alone beneath a darkening sky. His army camped in silence. Fires flickered low. The air was thick with anticipation and dread. And then, the heavens stirred. Accounts differ in detail, but the truth they echo is the same. He looked upward and saw light. A radiant cross formed in the sky, above the sun, shining with unnatural glory. And words, as if etched in the clouds themselves, appeared. In this sign you will conquer. In hoc signo vinces. Not in banners or legions, not in Rome's eagle, but in the sign of suffering. That night, the vision haunted him, not in fear, but in awe. Could this sign, this image of a crucified rebel, be the key to victory? The next morning, he ordered a new symbol painted on every shield, a strange monogram, XP, the first two Greek letters of Christ, Chi and Rho. To pagan eyes, it meant nothing. To Constantine, it meant everything. They marched beneath the cross. The bridge was soaked with blood and flame. The Tiber ran thick with the fallen, but Constantine stood victorious. Rome had a new ruler, and the church had a future. In the months that followed, everything changed. Edicts once drenched in hatred now whispered of tolerance. The persecution ended. The Christians came out from the catacombs. They emerged blinking into sunlight, building churches where once they had only caves. Constantine did not become a saint overnight. He was still a man of war. He still bore the politics of empire. But he was different. He prayed. He gave bishops authority. He called councils to settle heresies, to preserve the truth. He opened doors that had long been sealed with blood. The church, once underground, now stood in the light. But power is a double-edged sword. What was once pure and persecuted was now protected and tempted. We must speak plainly. The church gained much and risked more. Some wondered, had Caesar baptized the cross, or had the cross baptized Caesar? But history is rarely clean, and God often works through cracked vessels. Constantine was not perfect, but he was pivotal. He was the gate through which the church moved from martyrdom to influence. And through his vision, divine or symbolic, the world would never see Christ the same way again. On the battlefield of Milvian Bridge, two kingdoms met. One of men, one of God, and the cross stood between them. What Constantine saw changed the empire, but what the church did next changed the world. We don't always choose the moments that define us. Sometimes heaven invades a war tent. Sometimes a king kneels to a symbol of a servant. Sometimes the sword yields to the spirit. And sometimes a single vision opens the gates of history. What would happen if you looked up? Would you still see empire or eternity? The cross still stands. What will you conquer beneath it?